Hey guys, so as you can tell, this is a pretty chill video. I'm not wearing any makeup and I'm just chilling on my couch because I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys today. I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks and I just have been trying to gather my thoughts so that this isn't a complete mess, but I can't guarantee anything. I probably will just be rambling about a bunch of things in this video, but hopefully I can get the message across with what I'm trying to say. Basically, I want to talk about mental health again, and I think that this video, even though for me personally, I struggle with mental health, so it is kind of focused around that. I think that it can still apply to everybody because hopefully the things that I talk about are things that everybody struggles with and not just people who have anxiety or depression or any kind of mental health issue. But I am not okay, and that's okay that I'm not okay because the first step is definitely recognizing it. And I know a lot of people who are struggling right now, and I'm definitely one of those people. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm having this fantastic time and I've figured everything out and I feel a lot better, because I really don't. I'm really just starting my process of overcoming my mental health issues and being able to cope better with my anxiety and that type of thing. But it's a struggle. It really is. Like, I think that I've had anxiety for a lot longer than I kind of realized. So I have been having anxious thoughts and basically have trained my brain to think this way for the majority of my life. So now I have to try to reverse that so that things can be easier for me and I can think more positively, and I'm not so focused on the bad things that everything feels so bad and I just feel overwhelmed with how bad everything is and how I feel like it's never going to get better and I'm never going to be in a better place. So if you are feeling that same way, I'm here to tell you that you're not alone, and it's not just me and you either. There's a lot of other people. Like, I know several people in my life who are struggling right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people I'm sure there are a lot of other people who are struggling on their own. They're not reaching out to people to let them know. And honestly, I'm one of those people. Unless you're in my face and you see it happening, then you probably wouldn't know how much I'm actually struggling on a daily basis. And I don't want people to worry about me, and I don't want people to, I guess, fuss over me, especially like my family. So I don't like to talk about it a lot. I don't want somebody to say, I'm worried about you, because I know, and it makes it worse. It makes it harder for me. And I know that's like hard to understand, but it really does make it harder when someone says that to you. So if someone does come to you and says that they are struggling and they need help, the last thing you should say to them is that you're worried about them. You should just be there to try to help them as much as you can, to listen, to get them out of the house, to do whatever you think would be beneficial without letting them know that you are worried. Even if you are, it's totally understandable to be worried in that situation, especially when you don't struggle with mental health or you have no idea why the person is struggling. But for me especially, like, it makes me close off more when people are saying like they're worried about me or whatever. So just a little tidbit. I know it's really hard to reach out, and I don't have a lot of people that I am close with in my life that I could actually bare my soul to, because when it comes to anxiety, there are a lot of things that you do or don't do because you're anxious, and a lot of the times they're really silly and they can make you feel like you're really stupid because you can't do something simple as like making a phone call or sending your friend a text, because you can feel like a pit in your stomach, or you're panicking or something like that, and it just seems so silly, like over something so minuscule and something that should just be like an easy everyday task that completely overwhelms you. So it's really hard to just be open about all of those things with someone that you don't fully and completely trust and feel like you actually could just say whatever you think or feel to. And because I don't have a lot of people like that, I keep a lot of things in, and I have a very supportive family. I have amazing parents and an amazing brother, and I love them to death, but I don't want to tell them my problems because A, I don't want them to worry about me, like I said earlier, and B, it's not there's only so many things that you can say to your relatives, and then it just gets uncomfortable because, you know, it's just there's a boundary, obviously. And I love my parents, I'm very honest and open with them, but there's just certain things that I can't tell them, just like there's certain things that they can't tell me. And I know my brother feels the same way, that we're very close and we've always been very close, but it's still, there's certain things that you just can't say to those people. You really just need like a person that you could really just bare your soul to, and that might be a friend. But in my situation, like, I have one best friend and she doesn't live where I live, and it's very hard for me to reach out like via phone or the internet or whatever. I honestly, I have I struggle a lot with messaging and reaching out to people in that way. I'm not a big texter. I really don't. I get a lot of anxiety actually from texts and like Facebook Messenger and that kind of thing, because it's really hard to read people's emotions through a text, and unless you can very clearly tell how someone feels, it's hard to interpret sometimes. And when you're struggling and in a bad place, you can maybe read into things that and make them a lot worse than what they are. So I find myself in that situation a lot, and I've it makes me really anxious because of it, I guess. So it's not easy for me to just like text my friend, my best friend, and say like, I need to vent to you or whatever. I'm just not that person, and I guess maybe I could work on that, since I do live in a different country and I should be reaching out more to the people that matter the most in my life. But it's really hard for me, and I don't like admitting that I'm not okay, even though I really know I'm not okay. And I'm trying not to cry, so. But that's exactly why I didn't wear makeup, because I thought I would get emotional. But I am definitely getting better all the time, because I recognize, like, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. I don't want to shut everybody out, because I feel like maybe I take out the hurt from people, what people have done to me in the past, on people that are in my life now. I've had a lot of people in my life that were important to me at one point, and that I was vulnerable with, and that I thought that we had a really good relationship, and a lot of those people disappointed me and have left my life, and I'm thankful for that, because I know that they were doing more harm than good to me. But it just still really hurts when you lose people that you feel like you really had like a connection with, or they were your friend for a long time, or they were your boyfriend, or whatever. Like it just hurts to be betrayed, or I guess left by somebody else. I just honestly realized this like the other day, that's probably what I'm doing, is that I'm afraid to get really close with people, because I am afraid that I will let my walls down, and I will be disappointed at the end of the day, because I have found myself in that situation so many times. And I guess that's why I struggle with having close relationships with people. Anyways, this video was not meant to be like me bearing my soul, but I guess it kind of is. My point is that I have taken the first, maybe the second step to being better, and to not being in this place in my life, and to overcoming feeling like everything is shitty all the time. And the first step obviously is to realize that there is a problem and try to get to the core of that problem, which is kind of where I am now. Like, obviously I've realized that anxiety is like one of my biggest issues, and I'm trying to figure out now like really the core of it, and that's why I think like I came to that conclusion the other day about the whole friend thing and relationship thing. But the other thing is that you need to plant the seed. And if you don't know what I mean by that, like, you really need to plant the seed in your head that you are going to start changing. You're going to fight that voice in your head. And my voice is mainly anxiety, but I feel like everybody has that voice in their head that's like telling them they're not good enough, or that it's never going to be better, or that nobody likes you, or whatever it is that your little voice in your head is saying. You can fight against that voice. You can use your own voice and say, no, that's not true. I don't believe that. Just because you think something, it doesn't mean it's true. And anxiety tricks you into thinking that every thought that you have is true. And that's why you feel so bad all the time, because you're thinking, oh my God, everything is so shitty. And then you're saying, yeah, it is shitty. And you're believing that. And that's why you feel so terrible all the time. And so you need to start telling that voice, no, what you're saying is not true. And that, combined with obviously figuring out where your struggles are coming from, I think that's the first step. And honestly, that's where I am. And I hope that this can encourage you to take that first step, or maybe you are there and you're figuring out with me. So if you are struggling right now, you need to take action immediately. Do not let it drag out. I know it's so hard. And I know it's much easier to just lay in bed all day, or sit on your couch, or just sit and think about how shitty everything is and feel bad about yourself. And I know, like, it's so hard to take the first step, but the longer that you let it drag out, the worse it is. Seriously, I am almost 30 and I still have the same feelings of when I was like 15, 16 years old. Like, I don't know how much time has passed, because I feel the exact same way. I really do. And I still feel like that insecure child, because I was a child. I still feel those emotions and feelings and all the things that I went through like they were yesterday. And I guess maybe it's because I pushed it off and I just tried to move on without actually processing what had happened to me, or like, I guess, like, grieving the loss of those relationships, or anything that I went through. Like, I think that I just tried to push it away. So now it's like 12 years later and I'm still in the same 12, 13 years later, and I'm still like in the same position. My life is vastly different and I have completely different people in my life, but I still feel the same on the inside, because I've put it off for so long and I didn't have the resources to know when I was younger what actually was going on. And the point of this video was not for me to be like all emotional and stuff. I just want to say that it's okay if you're not okay right now. You're not the only one, and it will get better. You just have to plant the seed and start making the changes and reach out to people. And if you can't open up to somebody, kind of like I struggle to tell everybody exactly what I'm feeling, but I've always really enjoyed writing. I thought at one point that I would be a journalist in my life, so I am gonna start a journal. I want a bullet journal actually, so I think that it might be good for me to write out my feelings. So that's what I'm gonna try, but everybody's different, so you should find out what's gonna work for you and you should pursue that, and you should take the steps to get better, because you deserve to be better and you deserve to know that life is not shitty and it gets better and you've survived every single bad day you've had up to this point, and you can keep going. You can keep going, and you can make it better so that you don't feel shitty all the time. And this message is just as much to me as it is to everybody else watching this. I just also want to say that it comes down to you, and honestly, like, I know it's easier when you have a support system, and I'm so thankful that I do have people that support me so much, but it also doesn't matter because they can't fix it for you. No matter what they do or say, they can't fix how you feel on the inside. They could tell you you're beautiful 500 million times a day, but unless you believe that yourself in your head, then it doesn't matter how many people or how many times someone tells you you're beautiful. You need to believe it. And that's just one example. You know, I'm just using that because it's really easy, but if you, like, whatever it is, whatever you think in your head, you have to change the thoughts. Nobody else can do that for you. Unfortunately, it's you that has to put the work in. And it definitely helps to have people around, but even if you don't and you feel like you have absolutely no one, you have yourself, and you should love yourself, and you should depend on yourself, and you deserve to feel worthy of having love and happiness, and you can get to a better place. We can both get to a better place. We can all get to a better place and be better people and see the light in the darkness. I don't know what this video was, probably a complete mess, but hopefully you took something from it. Maybe it'll be good for me when I'm editing it, but I didn't want to be an emotional wreck, but I'm not surprised that I was, because that is my life. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video, and if you ever need somebody to talk to about absolutely anything, I am here. You can message me on any social media, anything. Doesn't matter if we're friends, doesn't matter if I know you, I am here to talk at any time. Because I know what it's like to not have somebody to talk to or feel like you're really alone. Even though I do have people in my life, I do feel alone a lot of the time. So if you ever feel like that and you want to chat, and it doesn't even have to be about your problems, you could literally just say, hey, I'm having a bad day, could use someone to talk to, and I'll be there. Also, in the comments below, if you have any suggestions from me or anybody else on ways to get better sooner, then I would really appreciate it, and I'm sure other people would as well. And yeah, it's okay not to be okay, but you will be okay. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.